Hi everyone and welcome to this week's chat on tech recruitment. Today I would like to talk about candidates who apply and then they don't respond to our messages. So, sometimes it's really interesting, sometimes it's really annoying, sometimes it's really frustrating to receive a candidate's CV. Someone who applies on the website actively, goes to the website, sees some interesting opportunity, applies, and then you try to approach him only to figure out the candidate doesn't respond, right? You try first time, you try the second time, the candidate doesn't respond. So what to do in this case, you may wonder, if you also have a similar problem. So I like to, step back a little and think about what's going on actually, not just in their heads, but on the market. What's the situation out there? Because to me as a recruiter, it may seem really annoying or frustrating when I see a candidate, I send a message and he doesn't respond, right? But if we look at it from the candidate's perspective, something else is going on. Just imagine if we step into the candidate's shoes for a while. Imagine the candidate goes through Facebook, for example, swipes up and down, goes through the Facebook feed, and it's a moment he or she sees an interesting job post. So he clicks on the link, goes to a job board, likes the opportunity, fills in the application form, and then may even forget about it, especially if a candidate applies to multiple jobs within a day or within 3 days or within a week. So, we then as recruiters can get back to the candidate 2 days or 3 days later, and they may not even remember what was the position about, especially if the title is as generic as a backend Java developer, right? Like there are so many other positions the candidate could have applied for. The same, especially if the candidate is a backend Java developer, right? He goes to one job board, applies to a position of a Java backend developer. He goes to another job board and applies to another position of a Java backend developer. And then he goes to another. Within 3 days, he or she can apply for 20 different positions. So now when we, recruiters, reach out to the candidate with the position Java backend developer, he may not even remember which one, right? He applied to 20, so which one are we talking about? The other problem could be that the candidate is just busy. People have lots of other responsibilities, not just check emails and respond to them. So the candidate may just have some tight deadline at work, or he may just be on a vacation, right? Like that's actually what happened just with my other candidate the other day. He applied and the other day he went for a vacation. So, there are lots of different situations. For example, the other one that comes to my mind is that the message actually go to spam. If the message goes to the spam or junk folder, the candidate may not even see it. Or the other one could be that the candidate doesn't really recall the name of the company or the name of the person who is reaching out to him or her, right? So imagine the candidate from Facebook goes to some job board and applies, forgets the name of the company, and then the other day someone, some Jonathan from company X, Y, and Z reaches out. Like, who is this Jonathan? What's the name of the company? The candidate may forget. So all these factors may influence the response rate. And so I believe we should not be discouraged, we should not be frustrated, but rather start working with this because this is the standard situation, right? Like I'm, on the other hand, rather surprised if someone responds right away. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, how come this person responded? I expect to follow up 5 times. How come this candidate responded so quickly, right? I'm positively surprised. I'm not negatively influenced or frustrated when the candidate doesn't respond for the first or second time. So this is the mindset we need to embrace with everything what's going on. People have very short attention span because of social media. They don't have time to read, they cannot remember the name of the company or the name of a recruiter. So they just apply and they may not remember anything in 2 or 3 days or in a week. It depends when you follow up with them. So I have also a few tips just written here in my paper book. So the tip number 1, how to avoid it, how to mitigate it, and how to actually work with these situations would be first to call the candidate really quickly. If you see someone opts in or someone fills in application, call him right away. And that's what just happened with one of my candidates yesterday. He applied around 5:45 and 6:15 p.m. I was already calling him, right? And he was like, "Oh my God, that's so fast." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's been already half an hour. Why are you surprised?" Right? So it should be even faster, right? The candidate applies and we quickly call him. That's when he still remembers it. The next tip would be to mention some reference, because I typed it down and I cannot read it. It's crazy, right? So mention a reference. So what was interesting in the job post that we can relate to? For example, if the client is interesting, we can say, hey, it was the company in San Francisco or the company in Singapore. Or you can say it was at the company where the CTO is the major open source contributor. Or you can say it was the company which creates the blockchain data aggregation platform, right? Like something that enables the developer to have this aha moment, like, it was that one, right? Like some point of reference. My next tip would be to use some candidate portal, something where the candidate can log in and see what did he or she actually apply to. Next, I also send SMSs. As soon as a candidate does not respond to my call, I send an SMS right away, a message through the system, like, hey, I tried to call you, I couldn't reach you, so I'll call you again. Just, don't be surprised next time your phone rings, just pick it up. Okay, so that's my next tip. I would also recommend to follow up every day. That's what happens in sales, right? We need to follow up with leads frequently. So with the recruitment, it's pretty much the same, right? We just need to follow up with candidates. They were busy yesterday, no worries, we will try again the other day. Are they busy the other day? No worries, we will try again in the afternoon or the next day. I'll send them an email, I'll send them a message, I'll try to call them, I'll chase them for a week. And obviously, if they don't respond at all within a week, well, then I reject them as candidates. Their application gets rejected. My next tip would be to mention, not just to mention, but rather to improve the copywriting. So there is one way how to write the message, like, hey, dear candidate, you haven't responded. I'm rejecting your application within 24 hours. That's one kind of style, which could be more annoying to candidates, or the other could be more positive, more polite, or just massaging candidates' ego a little here and there, right? You can say like, hey, I know you are busy, like all of us are busy these days. You applied for this opportunity, and lots of other people, lots of other developers apply too. So I just wanted to double check if you are still interested, because if you don't respond within 2 or 3 days, we will submit other candidates who will get hired, right? And you will miss this wonderful opportunity. So you can always improve something when it comes to copywriting, to be more positive, more encouraging, to work with people's ego a little. So, don't be rude. That's the first suggestion, obviously, when it comes to copywriting or writing emails in general. And make sure that you study some of these copywriting tips or strategies. So be friendly, be polite, expect people are busy, and just work with it, right? Mention it in the email. I know you are busy. I know you only have probably 15 minutes for this call. I know you have tight deadlines. Would you like me to call you right away or tomorrow, right? Instead of your application will be rejected in 24 hours if you don't respond right now, right? Like that's probably not the best way. You can use this email probably after a week of follow-ups. You can start with very friendly manner, and then day 4, day 5, like, hey, I'm about to close your application. The next day, hey, I notified you yesterday, I'll be closing your application, so this is your last chance, this is my last call for you to still, be in this talent pool. And then the last one, I close the application, right? So, there are different tips, different approaches on how to work with candidates who apply and then they don't respond. Just make sure you are not too frustrated. Rather, adjust your mindset and think this is the standard. So just work with it. And if someone responds right away, that's just great, right? That's just super cool. But don't expect people will reply right away. Expect it will take 4 or 5 follow-ups, and your life will be so much easier. All right, so that was my quick insight from this week based on what I've seen to work or not to work with my colleagues. So I hope you will find this useful. Definitely something also to improve on our end. And if you would like to work with me and with my team, you can go to the website recruitinstantly.com, and you can fill in a simple application form. We will see if it is a good fit, and if it is, then you can start working with me, with my team, for our partners. You can become our vendor or partner, freelancer. Like, there are different options. We work with recruiters from around the world, and we are building a great company, Tech Recruitment company, also Tech Recruitment Academy. So the opportunities when it comes to IT recruitment are huge. So if you'd like to capitalize and monetize on some of them, then go to the website recruitinstantly.com, and we will take it from there. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I'll talk to you during the next coffee chat. Bye.